From downtown Albany, Georgia, and the home of Pretoria Fields Beer, this is the No Dams Given podcast. And now, here's Trip Morgan and Billy Mann.
I tell my son this all the time. I say, listen, it's up to you what you do in life. I mean, you got the advantage now of some things people don't have. But the same thing with you, Trip. Your dad is there. Your dad is there, and what Southern Georgia is a Christian family-based community.
Yes, sir.
That's what we are. That doesn't mean we can't have a good time. It just means that's just who we are. So what I say to that is, Glenn, I tell you, it's growth. I appreciate you. And just listen to what I say. Don't be quiet.
That's beautiful, guys. That is beautiful.
I need a little violin there, but my wife is like that. But it's nothing like a mother.
No, that's
That's another thing. My wife,
together.
I run everything in my house. The wash machine, the vacuum cleaner, my wife runs this family.
Yeah.
And had not been for her, I don't know where we would be. I joke all the time. I say, baby, I'd have been left me. And talking about coming downtown Albany, she's one of the biggest cheerleaders. Before we even decided she wanted to do a restaurant downtown before we even thought about it.
Wow. And every time we wanted to start, she's like, no.
No, right. So every time we wanted to give it up, she said, no, we're gonna do we can do this.
No, she was your other support group. She was telling you.
Right. Well, she's better looking than you.
I know, right? No doubt about that. Praise the Lord.
Pass the bullet.
Praise the Lord. No doubt.
Yeah, but she's from Chicago, so she understands the big picture of a city.
When she used to tell me stories when she moved down here, well, 70s segregation had just kind of stopped. So she wasn't used to not being able to go in the store. So that's when Brooks Plaza was something else. So you had Woolworths, you had these high-end stores, and high-end stores were downtown. Yeah. She used to like the downtown was very nice to her in comparison. You know what I mean? There was a Chicago downtown, but it was a nice downtown. And she was just walking in the store. She was like, she'd get looks, but she didn't. That's what I do. That's what I do. So her having a father from the South and a mother from the North made my brother and I had a very crazy lifestyle growing up. So I had friends that would say, and my parents worked very hard. Like, there's no half-stepping between me and my brother. Like, we can't play second. There ain't no second fiddle. You run the whole band, right? So being at my friends I had a friend of mine say, man, it must be nice growing up with a silver spoon in your mouth. I said, you know what? One day, hopefully, your kids will say that to you about your kids. Somebody say that about your kids. And I said, I wasn't growing with a silver spoon in my mouth. However, I didn't know I was poor. If we were, I know that my mother and father got up every day and went to work, and I know they took care of my brother and I, and made sure we had education and had everything we needed. So that was a true blessing right there. So that's her growing and her telling me stories about that just made. Wow, we doing what we doing now.
Well, it's funny because we're obviously different, but I have a very similar life experience as you do. I mean, both my parents worked. Grew up in a smaller town. I grew up in Camilla, Georgia, even though a lot of my family's from here, and I had everything that I needed. The most important thing that I got was sense of family and an education.
Right.
And same thing. And then your dad always being, and I guess if there's anything that I can say, my dad has always been my cheerleader. And so even though I will say that we do fight. Like, we fight like cats and dogs. So
I'm glad to know that. I thought we had a dysfunctional family.
So he has he's very strong and opinionated, and I'm very strong and opinionated. I mean, I'm just like him.
Yes.
And my boy's just like me. So when I get frustrated and start to argue with him, and Mary Helen says, well, you're looking in the mirror.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I tell that all the time. But let me ask you something. What do you let's look forward for a minute. Where do we see Albany downtown in the next 5-10 years? Where do we see it? I mean,
I see people coming down here a lot and hanging out, and I see multiple blocks of revitalization.
Yeah.
I see it. I'm excited about the whole prospect of everything starting right? Kind of. I know there's stuff on Broad Street, and I know that's awesome. And but I love this block.
I do too.
This block is awesome. It's right next to the water.
Yes.
And it's like the Flint River Aquarium's right there, and
you know, nobody planned this, and nobody. This is not what it wasn't done superficially. I think it's important also that diversity is played in this thing, that who we are in terms of the Flint, in terms of the brewery, because of who Albany is. We can't leave anybody behind in this process. And if when you do that, what you are setting yourself up for is failure, because down the road then you're gonna have confrontation.
Right.
So I'm just so excited also, and it wasn't planned this way. I didn't think that we'd be next to the brewery this quick. As a matter of fact, I told Glenn this probably the next restaurant we would look at another city outside Albany. But that it has happened this way, I think we're very blessed. I think we got a grand opportunity to incorporate all of Albany. And I'm talking about east, south, north, west. Because the one thing I value in our restaurant, if you walk into Albany Fish Company, first of all, you're not going to know who owned it, because all we're doing is working there. We're just workers. If you notice, people ask me all the time, who owned this? I tell them all the time, you do. When I get there, they say, why don't I know? I'm not getting a check then. I say, well, you own this. We work here. You tell us what we need to do to make it better. And that's the attitude we want to have as we move in the next 5 or 10 years. I see Albany in the next 5 years. Things got to change in terms of our politics. Things got to change in terms of our vision as a community. But once that happened, there's no stopping, because we got the raw product is people, and we got the other raw product is land, and we got natural resources. So I see Albany has a bright future. I do. I really
Billy,
do.
what you think?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with everything Mr. Glenn just said. I think we're moving in the right direction, and I think Eric's right. I see people down here. My son and I were down here Saturday. We rode the whole bike trail down to the Cox Landing down there.
Awesome.
You know, and my little boy was just amazed. He was just like, you know, how many of us have not brought our kids down here
Right.
and just rode on this river trail or just seen what's down here? I mean, they don't even know that this is how beautiful it is down here. So, and then we ended up back here right in front of the river, right down here in front of the park, and we were throwing the Frisbee. And my little boy, right before we left, he's like, why aren't there a bunch of people out here? It's beautiful, you know, we're out in the grass, the river's flowing, and we're throwing the Frisbee. I said, that's the question we all have to ask ourselves.
That's correct.
Why aren't there 200 people down here at all times on a Saturday afternoon? And that's what we have to do, is work towards getting that to happen.
So what we think we need to do to make that happen? Like, how can we make people feel that this is the place to be?
We're doing it. We're sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah, having
right
a conversation.
Now.
This is it.
This is us. Doing
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
right?
and the one thing that I want to see, and you know, I think people have to envision what they want to a certain extent, and then as people, we can make that happen. And I want the success of what's going on the west side of the river to hit the east side of the river.
That's right.
Yes.
And I think when we see that, then all of those other things that we're worried about will go away.
Yeah.
It's real weird that to be successful, if we do those things and we're individually responsible, and suddenly that spreads on both sides, then the crime will get better, poverty gets better. You know, suddenly, you know, kids are having better outcomes, you know, on a yearly basis. They're going to college. We're not having as many problems as a community. And it goes back, bizarrely enough, to that combination and really thinking of everybody as family. If there's anything that I tell, or that, I guess I tell our people, that I feel like I've been successful and I've been very blessed, but I haven't gotten anywhere in life without all of the people around me who have helped me and really lifted me up. And so those are the things that will build this community, and it's one person at a time. And we really have to take that individual responsibility. And if we all do that, then not only will downtown be successful, West Albany be successful, East Albany will be successful, and then suddenly we're back to being that 1970 city that was the fastest growing city in the state of Georgia.
Right.
And that's what we're headed towards.
Right.
That's what I want to be headed towards.
Well, it starts with an attitude, like you said, and we got to develop that attitude, and we got to share it, and it's got to become euphoric. It's got to almost when you talk about Albany, Georgia, downtown Albany, Georgia, we got to believe it. We've been telling the story, but I don't think a lot of us don't believe the story that we're telling.
Embody that story.
I'm excited about it. I really am. And to the tune that we're making an investment to make that happen, not monetarily, but sweat equity. I mean, you gotta come. You got to show up. You show up, and that's half of the battle. Just show up, and there's some good things that are happening. But it's not just Albany; it's our region. So I look at Albany in terms of a region. I look at Southwest Georgia. Right. I tell Glenn, the Flint has got to pull for as far away as Tallahassee and as far away as Macon. And speaking of which, I've had people to drive from Destin, Florida, to eat at Albany Fish Company. That's awesome. But I thought it was kind of crazy. But when it happened, it blew me away.
Not just one or two, people come from Florida, from the Gulf, and I live in Destin. Your seafood is where I want to eat your seafood here. It's crazy.
God, yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive, but
it's scary.
It's scary. Well, it's called duplication
and it's humbling too.
Yeah, it is very humbling.
It's when people come in from all over, and people from Albany. I had not imagined that this would be happening 4 years from the day we started. We started 2014. It's 2018 now. I didn't see this in the picture. Now I always wanted a restaurant. All my friends told me I was good. I went to school for it, but I didn't see this fast pace of growth. And to have people from all walks of life, all different regions of countries. I had a lady and a husband came in today from England. I saw us on Facebook and Instagram. And they had to come to America, so one other city, to bury somebody. And they saw us on Instagram, and they saw on Yelp, came and said we had to eat here. And when they ate, they left me a major review. They said the best seafood they ever had.
And that's important. Well, we got to market too. Now we got to do some things strategic and also some things calculative in terms of pushing our vision in front of people. You got to get in front of people. And I tell Glenn, let me do a good job. And one of the mediums that we use is social medium, and I can tell you the first day we opened, I said I don't have any money to put in the ads out.
I said don't worry about it.
He said don't worry about it.
Chill out. I already know what you're gonna say.
Facebook, and it blew me away.
He's like, what is Facebook?
What is Facebook?
What is this Facebook? I said don't worry about it.
I still don't do Facebook, guys.
I said don't worry about it. I got you.
But Facebook works, and what I'm saying to you is, as a community, I would love for the city to make an investment in terms of getting our resources and our what we are out in front into the public, and we're doing a better job of that. And that's what EDC and the chamber and the city can do to make sure they're doing their thing.
We'll talk a little bit about that because that's important. And I think maybe when we were building the brewery, I might have drawn a little flack from it because I don't think people understand where city investment comes from and how much that you yourself have to invest in it when it comes down to it. I think there are people who don't understand how that works, who maybe think the city have put too much into it. But what really happens is that you put much more than the city has of your own money. True? Tell us about it.
Unlike government, private investors, you coming out of your pocket. And so your spending is emotionally associated with you every day because it affects you directly. Yeah. And so what I mean by that is not that our leaders are not good stewards. I think it's a lot easier to spend somebody else's money than it is to spend your own. I mean, it's a lot more fun for me. I mean, I love going to a dinner and one of my friends say, "Oh, I got this tab." I said, "By the way, I want a larger steak." Right?
I like lobster.
Right. But when you buy it, you're a little more mindful of what you're spending. But as a community, it's going to take that kind of investment. And what I mean by that is, we got those pieces in place. Thank God that we got a chamber, EDC, and the city county government.
But 80% of the capital that goes into it comes out of your pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I want people
Absolutely.
to know.
It does. 80% of it comes out of the private investor's pocket.
That's right.
That's right. And somebody's got to be willing to jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
And that's where I look at those who've already done it in this community, who've done other things, who's not sitting at this table today, like a Pace. Pace has some questions about how it's going to work. Rightfully so. When you're making that kind of investment, you should have some questions about how it's going to work. But at the same time, I want you to know that had it not been for that kind of energy, there wouldn't have been that kind of discussion. Mm-hmm. So it takes all of that in the ball of wax to make it work. It's no set way to do it. But what I would like to say that is our EDC and our chamber has got to make it known that these resources that we're putting out there are serious resources. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody wants to think that you've been given something. It's an investment. I can tell you it's a hell of a risk because we're going into a market that's unknown. We got this grandiose vision, but I can tell you every night I lay down, it's a thought in my mind about, hey, what about that Paris trip? What about that? What about that retirement? Well, what about Gerard in L.A. who wants to start his own firm? How soon are you going to be able to get out there to help him out? And I say to you that I believe that much in this community, that it's got to be a dual partnership from government and private investors.
Right, and it comes down to one person making the decision to do it and really jumping forward and. And that is I think that's the best way to do it because, if you fail, it's on you. I mean, at the end of the day, if I've got the risk, then I've got to go out and I've got to make sure that it's successful. We've sat in tables or sat around the table before with some of the city folks and said, well, how do we know you're going to be successful? It's like, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice to be successful. And,
that's right.
That goes back to the entrepreneurial spirit and moving forward into chaos and trying to create some order. So that's awesome.
But we can't take away from the fact that we have a great community to do it in.
Oh yeah.
We got a great natural resource, which is the Great Flint River. I mean, we're on the bank of a mighty river, and how many communities would love to have a river to flow through us.
Oh yeah, that's what everybody says when they come down. Like, man, you got a river running through downtown.
And that river starts at Hartsfield National Airport in Atlanta, Georgia. That story's got to be told. It goes all the way down to the Chattahoochee. So I mean, that story's got to be told. When I talk about our regional approach, it's got to be those small communities outside of Albany, Camilla, Tifton, Valdosta, Blakely, Dawson. You understand? That's Albany. That's not. See, when we talk that way, that's what we got to talk. We got to talk regional, because I can tell you right now, none of us is going to reach the level we want to reach without that regional approach.
Right. Without the community around us and the larger Southwest Georgia community. And anything that brings us up brings them up as well. And we've always been
high tide will lift everybody's boat. Just right. Get in the water.
We've always been central to agriculture. So, continuing that, and y'all are doing the same thing, promoting agriculture in Southwest Georgia.
I'm on a diet, so I'm kind of hungry right now. So I'm gonna ask Chef G a question. What made you fall in love with cooking? Tell us what started your whole journey.
All right, so
you're a educated chef,
Le Cordon Bleu in Atlanta. It started. Okay, all right. First, I have no sisters. It's my brother and I. I have no female cousins. So
you're cooking a lot.
So no, we were latchkey kids. You know what latchkey kids are, right? My mother and father worked all the time. So you go home, you lock the door, and you go in the house. Don't open the door nobody till I get home.
Yeah.
So my brother and I were hungry. So we got my mama.
Strong word.
She leaves sandwich. No, it was food in there. Oh, okay. But you had to make a sandwich or you had some cereal. But I wanted to try other things. So as a little boy, my mother had walked away to see what my dad wanted. I remember, and she had some eggs. She was about to scramble, and I threw the eggs in there and started scrambling. She caught me. Like, what you doing? I'm making eggs, and I did it. My dad wouldn't eat it. Let me tell you when I knew how to cook, though. This when I knew how to cook. This was like last year. This how I knew how to cook. Last year I knew I could cook. I made this oyster dish, and I'm going to name it after my father. It's going to be at the Flint. And I made it, and I presented it to my father, and he like, this shit good as hell, man. That day, I'm finally a chef.
You got it.
I'm a chef.
Did he mumble it or did he actually say it out loud?
I didn't want to say it out loud.
I know you didn't. I just wanna make sure
right.
That's how he said it.
He really admitted it.
So,
By the way, guys, I want you to know we're drinking a lot of beer. I'm a deacon in the church, but be careful now. We might have to cut a little of this out because I don't want. Go ahead.
when because growing,
I'm not a deacon.
We can make you a deacon. We're running short on deacons.
We're running short.
Yeah. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
growing up, my father never ate my cooking. Never. He like, I'm not eating that. Tandra, make me a sandwich. Maybe I'm not eating that. I don't know what the heck he making over there. But that, like I said, last year he ate and he told me it was good. That was
I would always do it when you go to bed. I don't want to tell you that, but and that's just I never forget. I tell you the worst time I've had.
So you wait till you went to
When
bed.
that bed out the next day, it's like you know the story of the shoemaker. Well, I didn't want his head to get too big, you know. I didn't want Glenn's head to get too big. And I spent all that money on football equipment. I was looking. That was my way out of the ghetto. I wanted to go to the NFL. You know, but I tell you, he cooked though. He cooked.
Karen's gonna get you there.
That's my grandbaby.
My
That's
baby, my daughter
granddaughter.
gets you there.
Karen is going all the way. Gavin is too. Gavin's gonna be a professional golfer.
Okay.
As soon as we start working with him.
Okay.
But he cooked a salmon once and brought it and presented it with the head on.
Beautiful salmon, no skin.
Yes, it was gorgeous, man. And I was gonna have some people over.
I was trying to impress
And
his
they were,
friends.
and when I did, man, I told my wife that they're not gonna want to eat this with the head on. So I tore the head off. Woo!
I love it.
That was the worst Christmas I've ever had.
I drove all the way to Atlanta that day.
He was so mad
I
at
was gone for
me.
like 3 days.
He told me, "You are the most inconsiderate person in the world. How dare you? I stayed up all night cooking this fish for you. You would take the." I said,
He
"Glenn,
just snatched it all out.
It looked like a possum. I couldn't eat it." But I know he
But
couldn't
when
eat
you
it.
ate it and your friends ate it,
It's awesome.
Yeah, but we used to come home from my wife and I from an event or something going out, and the babysitter would be there. And I never forget, we say to her, don't cook in this house. You fix cold cuts or you warm up some soup or something. But pots and pans will be dirty. So I said, now, young lady, we asked you not to cook in this house because you can burn the house down. She would start crying. But say, man, I didn't cook. I'm going to have to tell Glenn be cooking it. Glenn be cooking it when y'all go. Young lady name was Tara.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara, man. Tara cried that day. We was all over. I said, I'm not paying you because I told you don't cook it and you can burn the house down. So he would always want to cook, you know. But what's your favorite thing, Glenn? What's your favorite dish to cook?
like professionally or like home.
Home. That's why I love it.
A steak.
Yes.
I like grilling steak. I get it from around here. I either get it from Salt Lick or I get it from my boy Mike.
Oh, Mike. Mike is awesome.
Yeah.
Mike's Country Store.
Yes, sir. Mike is awesome. Mike, that's another
Yeah.
true investor in our community. What he's done is phenomenal.
Yeah. I get it from him and Mike.
Mike is a player too.
Yeah.
Mike's all Albany.
At Albany Fish Company. Right now, it's my vegan chop steak. It's crazy, guys. It's I formulated this meat out
And
of
the
vegetables.
fish company cook the steak.
Yeah, vegan chop steak. I can show it to you. It's amazing, pops. I know
That
you
don't
eat my.
sound right.
That's what it looks like right there. I know they can't see it on camera,
Detail on this.
but that's what it looks like right there. And that's all vegetable right there. It's a vegetable-based meat, and it's made with turnips, and it's made with
I'll try that
sweet
today.
potatoes, and it's made with this meat byproduct called Hemi. Hemi is this new soybean product that they genetically engineered to give vegetables to mimic meat. So when you squeeze it, it bleeds. It's red. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I got it first to make burgers with.
I'm sort of with you. Go ahead.
So and y'all don't realize the vegan food scene is really taking off.
Yeah, it is. We get a lot of people who
Everybody,
because there are a lot of people vegetarians now.
And if you think about it, in natural
it's
wild,
healthier.
the biggest animals eat only vegetables. Elephants eat only vegetables. Whales eat only vegetables. The ones that sleep all day, like lions and tigers, eat meats once a day. Right? So you can get all you need from a vegetable. So I love making these right here. This is my new thing. But so my favorite thing right now to make, it would be right now it'd be that because it's been taken off. But in general, I like to grill any fish you bring me right now. You grill me, I bring me a fish, I grill it.
Low country boil.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah, I read the dreams.
Low country
Doc
boil.
get 2 of those, 3 of those.
I know. I need to go home and take that nap he was just talking about. About 4 hours.
What do y'all see about the entertainment scene as it relates to what we're trying to accomplish downtown?
That's definitely a Billy question.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I see it growing. I'm excited about the Civic Center group. I think they're
Yes.
going in the right direction. I think they have some great ideas, and
Yes.
they're also, like you've touched on, is including everybody. You said that
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
We need to include everybody, and that really struck a chord in me that we need to do a little something for everybody. And that's we're even trying to do that in the brewery. We're having our markets with different
Yes.
vendors. We're trying to bring in.
What's that young guy's name?
everybody
He's been
we
around
can.
Albany working a long time, but he was down at Tiff Park.
Steve
for us.
Brimberry
Yeah.
is one
Let's
of
give
the best
Steve them a bar.
ambassadors
Yes, Lord.
Albany, Georgia
We
has.
love Steve Brimberry.
Steve Brimberry
man.
is-
his mother. That's a phenomenal
That is
family.
a great family for
Yes.
sure. And so going forward, we just need to focus on this diversity and focus on things that'll bring people down here. Not only adult entertainment at night, like we've talked about, but families during the day. Like,
Yes.
there's no reason something shouldn't be going on in that park
Exactly.
All the time.
every weekend.
Right on the river right there.
I mean,
Exactly.
something,
One of the
music
things
or
that I'm
anything.
gonna push real hard when we get down here is a big food fest of like the crab fest, seafood fest, or a taste of Albany, and it needs to be. It makes no sense for us not to have something. If not every weekend, every other weekend, something going on because it's
Absolutely.
plenty space over there. It's
Right.
plenty of space.
Well, it starts with us, like
That's
we're talking
true.
about,
Yes.
and that's our whole theory behind bringing the market. It's just in the brewery right now, but we're not holding on to that. We want it to spread. We want that to be a downtown market.
Right.
You know, we get a lot of people say, we just left the brewery. We encourage people to come to the
Yes, we
brewery
do.
all the
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
You know, we do.
We do.
But because we like the product. But when they come, they say, we're looking forward to the food. So we're looking forward to being a partner with you guys and providing that needed piece there. Because,
Right, you gotta have it, yeah.
Yes, you got to have it all.
I got a menu I put together that I want to share with you guys on a later date about for the specific for you guys, that when people come in, they got their own menu that's specific for Pretoria Fields that comes from Albany, from the Flint. I think it's pretty cool too.
Absolutely.
We're
We've been
excited.
talking about that. We're excited to see that and see what we can get going.
Thank goodness they changed the rules. We can do things like that now.
Yes.
So,
I'm looking forward to also. I think it's going to be important that the city look at relaxing some of the rules governing how people can handle their product outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand there's been some discussion about being able to go point to point with
Right.
Yeah,
There's people on our side,
Good.
and I think it's coming. I really do. I think I think we got the momentum we need, and just getting the right people on our side and people that want to see it happen. The naysayers need to.
They'll be okay. We'll
Quit
bring them along.
naysaying.
No, I mean, and I
they'll
think,
take credit for it later.
and who gets the
Yeah.
credit doesn't matter.
It does not.
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
That's what
Yeah,
what
we bring
Jesus
'em-
said.
yes,
Tell no one.
That's
So,
right. We'll bring them along kicking. I'm just excited about it. I can't say enough about the energy. And the energy does bring synergy. And I mean, you can't have one without the other because everybody wants to be a part of success. Nobody wants to be left out of the opportunity to be successful. They may say they do, but deep down inside, everybody wants to succeed. That's a human nature, I think, of anybody to want to succeed. So naturally, all men want to succeed. I'm just hopeful that we understand how important it is. I keep going back to this, is that it's a regional attitude that we have to develop. We got to bring people from outside of our own little sphere
Oh, yeah.
Because other communities are drawing upon us.
Right now
There's
people are going to
right
Columbus,
there,
people going to
I
Thomasville.
don't even call those names
wanna
of
come in
those
here.
places. How dare you go?
I love those places. I love those places.
How
But
dare you go to another little town south of here and come back and say you had a good time?
yeah, you're right. You're
We're going to have
right.
a good time in Albany, Georgia. Yes, we're going to do it right here.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody being here today. And thank you for everything you're doing downtown. And please continue. One person makes a difference.
Eat the elephant one bite at a time.
And I'm looking forward to my turkey.
You got it, man. Thanksgiving.
He's on the list, Pop.
Bless
No
you.
Damn's Giving podcast. Thank you very much.
Billy,
All right,
Billy.
cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
That's it.
Cheers. Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you.
This was awesome.
Appreciate it,
My
guys.
pleasure. Yes.